Confirmation bias is a tendency to search for, interpret, and remember information in a way that confirms one's pre-existing beliefs or assumptions. It all started on February 24th, 2022, the day when Russia invaded Ukraine. This day has been entrenched in our minds. I woke up, checked my phone, and there it was, the horrible news. Russian tanks marching through to Kiev. I couldn't work well that day, and honestly, I don't think anyone in Europe could either. This all seems like a distant memory now. 2 years later, phrases like Kiev in 3 days became a meme. But this video isn't about Ukraine per se. This video is about how war, violence have become a normal part of our feeds and how it influences opinions based on one's confirmation bias. Since the start of the war, I noticed something troubling. Actually, something dystopian almost. I have seen hints of it before, but this was deeper. The internet space was divided into two. A majority of pro-Ukrainian supporters and a minority of pro-Russian supporters, at least in the West. However, although I give Ukraine as example, the pattern of the so-called internet battlefield divisions extend far beyond Ukraine and encompass many other conflicts and issues. I noticed that in the weeks and months following the invasion, YouTube channels began sprouting up like mushrooms, with each promoting its own narrative. The main platforms like YouTube, Facebook, and even Twitter before it became X were more or less dominated by pro-Ukrainian narratives, with some pro-Russian narratives and channels here and there. You had groups and followers crystallize around certain YouTubers and bloggers, some of whom were former military. There was another group of so-called experts and a third group of long-time political bloggers. The battle lines were drawn and the comment section became a place for insults and arguments. Now, that's not to say all analysis was bad or wrong, but the narratives were like Russia/Ukraine is collapsing, or it's all over, Putin or Zelensky is destroyed. The more sensational the title, the more views it seemed to have gotten. Updates became more regular, with daily battlefield updates and maps, feeding an audience who seemed to want to believe whatever bias it had. As people start consuming certain content that validates their pre-existing views, the more I speculate the algorithm will feed them more suggestion of other content that aligns with their views. Let me elaborate further. Imagine a person named James with opinion A, which is pro certain position. Naturally, he feels drawn to the content that supports his view. Another person, Emily, has opinion B, which is an opposite view of opinion A. Both James and Emily go online and search for the topic. As they start consuming content that validates their opinions, both Emily and James will probably reach very different conclusions on a certain topic. Now, what happens next, I speculate, is that the algorithm seems to promote similar content or content that reinforces the respective views of James and Emily. This creates a situation where James and Emily find more and more evidence to reinforce their beliefs, while being mostly unwilling or, let's just say, unlikely to consider the other point of view, or at least the cracks in their own. This leads to different online echo chambers of polarizing opinions, leading to people giving their attention which some creators and media can monetize for their own gain by feeding the people their preferred narratives back to them. So what's the result? I realized war has become a sort of infotainment, akin to a new football or basically competitive sport, something people unfortunately cheer for. You can choose one team or the other and then root for them till the bitter end. The more emotionally invested you are, the more you will scroll and the more content you will consume. And there will be people more than happy to monetize your attention. Some creators and media, and I emphasize on the word some, are more than happy to monetize people's emotions and emotional investments by bringing you the news you want to hear and ignoring anything you don't, hence perpetuating the confirmation bias cycle. Conclusion. I still think there are channels that offer balanced and unbiased, or at least as close to unbiased content as you can get. But balanced content is not as appreciated in my opinion, because it's not sensational. Balanced views don't reinforce confirmation bias, and hence are not very monetizable. Although I started this video with the example of Russia versus Ukraine conflict, this phenomena can be applied to many other conflicts and issues. And what about you? Have you noticed this before? If so, leave a comment and give me an example. Thank you very much.